This episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast is brought to you by Insightful Accountants Be Insightful membership program. Get 9 expert-led training tracks, over 30 CPE hours a year, hands-on workshops, and year-round premium content to grow your skills and your practice. Learn more at blog.insightfulaccountant.com. Just click the premium member content button.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast. My name is Gary DeHart. I'm the host of the Accounting Insiders podcast, publisher of Insightful Accountant, and I've got 2 guests today. This podcast is going to be a little different. It's going to get a little technical, which is a little out of my league. So I brought in the number one technical person I know, and that is William Murphy. You've seen him all over Insightful Accountant, see him at shows. He's been around the space for a very long time and has written for us since day one of Insightful Accountant, formerly Intuitive Accountant. And I don't know if we have an actual article number of articles that he's written, but it's in the thousands. So I appreciate you being on here, Murph. And then we also have Yaroslav Lazor who is the COO and founder of Coupler.io. And they're going to get into some technical stuff, but before they do, I'm going to have each one of them just give a little bit of background of what they were doing, prior to this, especially you, Yaroslav. I think a lot of people know about what Murph's been doing for the years, but let's just start with you. Welcome. Thanks for being here, both of you guys.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to join.
I'm an engineer by craft. Which started when I was 10 years old. I started writing code, and I never stopped ever since. And my company, Coupler, one of our products, I run a venture studio which has multiple products. One of the products that we built famously as a part of this venture studio is Calendly. There was a very interesting journey how Calendly scaled, and but now we're with my product Coupler, which is the data product, and it helps you to become your AI data analyst. It helps you to be the pleb of all the data that you would be working with, like QuickBooks or Xero or CRM. E-commerce software, advertisement. You can pull the data and then you can analyze it, put it together, and analyze it in a very easy way. But today we're going to focus on the simplest use case of QuickBooks, interacting with QuickBooks and Xero, and we're going to show some of that. My journey. So I was running company back from 2008, and a company obviously has accounting in it. And I was very reluctant. I hated accounting. I hated finances. And this hate took me through the 10-year-old journey of just rejecting being involved in accounting and finances and trying to hire CFOs and, out of accounting and so on. And then one day I was in Bali, and I realized that this hatred doesn't do any good, neither to the business nor to progression of anything, nor to my family as well, because I would be spitting monologues with myself about it. And I was like, you know what? Let me try to learn it. And I actually learned finances and accounting. We didn't have a P&L back then as a company, though we had a CFO, but she was very adamant in finding the 1 cent difference between balancing the books in balance sheet, much more than paying salary on time. And that didn't work with me. So one day I decided that we're going to do a P&L, and there was a consolidated P&L from 6 entities: Dubai company, Ukrainian company, Polish company, and 3 US companies. And a bunch of them were run on Xero. Some of them were run in spreadsheet. Some of them were run in Airtable, and some of them were run on just like particular Polish software and so on. So we just pulled all the data using Coupler, combined it together into a general ledger, and I created a P&L product together with my data analyst. We were working with 3 people in parallel and created this state-of-the-art, amazing P&L system that just created consolidated books. It had data, not to get overly technical, but it had the ledger data joined together with the analytical data, because you can get the data from Stripe real time, and then you see what is your revenue day by day from Stripe. But in accounting, you typically close it by the end of the month or weekly or biweekly. So we would balance that accounting equals the analytical data, but use the analytical data in P&L. So, and then, that changed everything. And then as I learned accounting, and I did double entry accounting myself, and then we parted ways with the CFO, hired a new team, and moved everyone to an ERP, to Odoo. We've kind of customized Odoo, customized our salary, so it went from 13 days to half a day. It was completely automated by Coupler because it pulled all the data and prepared everything for you and just said, hey, those people are ready to get their salary paid, and those people don't have the documents signed. What do you want me to do? And all these operations has changed from me hating accounting to me loving accounting and loving finances. There's really nothing, like, it's just I think it was the lack of knowledge that was the problem rather than the accounting or finances itself. It's a great domain. So now I spend 1 hour a month on actual accounting and finances, and the team is running it really well because of my love from perspective of joining software configuration, coupler, and monitoring, and creating and processes. We also have a company that does checklist driven processes, and hate it turned into love, and we're super organized, and I love it.
That's great. And then, so Murph, two things. One, since you mentioned, Yaroslav mentioned Odoo, and I know that's something you've been wanting to look at for a while. So Murph might get in your ear after this about that. But
No problem.
Also, though, noted that Odoo is not on the list of accounting apps that Coupler supports. So,
yeah, don't get me started on that. So Odoo releases a version every year, which has breaking changes to the previous year. And people customize Odoo, sometimes over customize Odoo. And what happens, they get stuck on this version number 5, and there's version number 16 already. And they have this like branch that they created by themselves. And APIs are different. Odoo didn't have a great API up until the last version. And so in order to get Odoo in, you really need to understand versioning. And we try not to create a frustrating product for our clients. In a way that it has to like connect, and you have to see the data very quickly. I'll show you the demo later. It's a pretty nice and quick flow of how data enters into your life. And with Odoo, we just didn't see a big enough go-to-market strategy, because for us, it's like Coupler is like Excel. You can apply it to anything, but we need to create enough documentation, YouTube videos, and explanations, and use cases, and so on, so that people have what to work with. And then with Odoo is getting much more popular, so we might but we need to allocate a team to it to figure out what's the go-to-market. Then we need to write a lot of articles about it, and so on, so on, so on. We can't just just do a connector and then hopefully then someone will do something with it. It has to be a coordinated effort. So if you guys want to share about Odoo, we can do a separate episode, and I'll share our journey with Odoo, what's good and bads, and how Coupler can help, and maybe make a wait list for that.
Yeah, there you go. And then Murph, a little bit of your background for those who may not know you. Buckle up.
So yeah, for the last 16 years now, I guess Gary and I've been working together. Before that, I did all kinds of things. I started my professional career as a physician assistant, and got into healthcare finance, and from healthcare finance into accounting, and then into essentially health insurance. And when I first decided that I was about ready to retire, uh, I went trout fishing for 6 months straight and decided it was too boring. And so I somehow managed to get hooked up with Intuit and QuickBooks, and that's pretty well what I've been doing the last at least 27 years. Uh, but I think the last count I had was around 13,600 articles I've written over the last 16 years or so. And it's been a fun ride. So yeah.
Kept him busy. So have you, Murph, have you always had that technology bend though, even in the
Uh,
other?
yeah, well, I guess like Yaroslav, I came from a engineering background. My dad and brother was both engineers of one variety or another, and so it was always as I grew up how things work and how things go together and how things screw up if you don't put them together right. And so when I started dealing with software, the first real computer I ever encountered was a Tandy, uh, and nothing ever worked on that. And then my dad had a DAX computer for a while, and uh, there was a period in which I dealt with IBM PC for a long time. We always had issues with this, that, or the other. You had dial up modems and all that kind of stuff for connectivity. And so, I've always been on the technical side. Um, and when I got involved in QuickBooks, it became very clear that there were issues with the backside of that product. And I decided I'd learn as much about that. So I took Sybase training, which Sybase was the foundational database for QuickBooks, still is for the desktop product. And so a lot of what I did, especially the last, roughly 9 years, uh, that I was actively practicing was just work on trying to get people's data files back running and straightened out from a technical standpoint. So,
So you like and the data detective, right? So you like digging in and you like to really figure out, like you said, solve the problem.
yeah.
There's a problem. How do we solve it? And okay, so you two have had a conversation, a short conversation prior to this. So at this point, I'm going to step back and just kind of let you two talk just about what's going on, talk about product, talk about how kind of use cases for the product. And again, little different type of podcast for us, but our mission at Insightful Accountant, we're really here to, inform and educate, public accounting professionals, whether you're a bookkeeper, whether you're tax, whether you're accounting, or, small business advisor. We want to bring, content in a variety of forms to, the marketplace so that people can understand what their options are, so that advisors can understand, you know, what the variety of solutions that are out there. So with that said, I'm going to kind of go quiet and then kind of let you pick it up from here, Murph.
All right. So, Yaroslav, let's just talk a little about what actually coupler is, and it gives it it gives it away by its name, in that it does couple together different software, but it provides some key functionality as a part of that coupling. So go ahead and just you tell us how you describe coupler.
I'll tell you a quick story. We were doing this salary calculation back at night with one of my other colleagues quite some time ago, and I was just trying to see if our revenue reconciles. Um, we were a service company back then, so hours multiplied by rates throughout the year should equal to the invoice revenue. And I found that we were $250,000 short. So we under invoiced $250,000. And I was like, huh, interesting. I wonder how that could happen. So I started digging, and I found that in the Excel invoices that we did, the when a new person would join the team, the person doing the accounting at the time, the accountant, would insert a line with the new person, but she would forget to include that line in the sum formula to sum up the people. And if two people would join, then there would be like 5 people. The 3 of them were added into the sum, and the 2 of them were not added into the sum. So this is what she actually added into invoicing software, just copy pasted from Excel, and she would invoice people. And I would find that, and at the time we were like at 2.5 million of revenue or something. So there was a big deal to under invoice $250,000. So I was completely shocked by that. And it shaken my world in terms that I understood that I cannot trust a human being with human being processes just manually doing something in there. What I wanted is that the software calculates everything with pivot tables. So basically, a column is a column of data, and it has to reconcile to something. It has to transition into something as a full column of data, as the whole set of data. There can be no like human involved in creating this sum formula or not. This is how Coupler came to be. The Coupler became the first script that I made. We were using this funny invoicing software. It's called Blink Sale. So I made a script, a bash script for a computer that runs and extracts all the XML data from Blink Sale and then transforms it into a CSV. And then we're taking our hours multiplied by rates, which also was done in a spreadsheet, in a Google spreadsheet. We were using array formulas at the time. Google spreadsheets are incredibly powerful of using array formulas and filters, so that you don't have to copy paste the formula top to bottom every time. You use the array formula, it will calculate the whole column. So and that was very easy, right? You just take hours multiplied by rate, hours multiplied by rate by all your time data, and those two things should equal one to each other. And that was the first coupler of the time. There was the script, and then script turned into a bigger script, and then it turned into something that can connect to a lot of different places, and we would extract the data from those places. We would put it into centralized storage, and coupler would be able to join and union data and make it so that you can validate your important checksums and basically validate that your data is working. And it went, it's expanded from there, and a lot of people use it for a lot of different places: sales professionals, e-commerce companies, advertisement agencies, anyone who runs advertisement inside of their company. They can pull data from different places, right? You can pull data from QuickBooks, CRM, and your traffic analytics, and create yourself a data model that helps you understand how traffic converts into the CRM leads and how CRM leads convert into QuickBooks actual revenue. And like you can compare the deals that you have stated won in your CRM. Did they actually manage to get into QuickBooks as invoices? And did we bill for that? And you can create all those analytics. And it was a very comprehensive system that can give you really powerful ability to manipulate the data. But then AI came along, and AI within Coupler, we were among the first ones who were published into Anthropic Claude as an MCP connector. MCP is a model context protocol, which basically gives AI ability to go into your QuickBooks and pull the data out of it. You can say, get me my top account payables that I'm struggling to pay, and it would give you the data. I would be like, oh, let's analyze my trend of my accounts payable and how do I pay them. What is it that we're lagging? What is it that we have kind of a longer ability, longer due days, longer terms of payment that we can like facilitate, so we have a bit more cash flow, and it will do that for you. So we basically created this agent inside Coupler that you can talk to, that is going to use your real actual data. It will work with you and will use the real data to show it to you and interact with it as your data analyst, AI data analyst that is actually doing a good job. Does it make sense?
Nope, you're muted, Murph.
Yes.
So right now, about how many different uh, connectors, that's what I'll call it, uh, do you actually connect to? How many different applications do you actually connect to? Do you, do you have an idea about how many that is? It seemed
So
like there
do
were about 2 dozen that were specific to accounting and finance, but there are a whole group of others, as you mentioned, e-commerce and CRMs and a variety of other data sources.
Yeah, I can do a quick share of the screen if that works. My browser just crashed while we were talking. So that was not nice, but I managed to refresh it and restart it. So here's, for example, the CRM software. There's a lot of different CRMs like the Salesforce, Pipedrive, and HubSpot being very popular, or Freshservice is one of the new ones, Intercom, which gives you ability to pull your CRM data, your deals, your contacts, right? That you can put together. E-commerce is one, or shall we rather start from the finance and accounting? So you can pull. So finance and accounting is a much more broader category than just QuickBooks, right? QuickBooks and Xero were among the first ones that we were working, but you can actually pull your Stripe data, which is really cool. You can extract what's happening in Stripe and compare it to what did you account in QuickBooks. Or you can create yourself an analytical Stripe dashboard in a way that you want to, where you would do revenue recognition in a different way, and you would be like, what if I let me pull expenses from QuickBooks, but let me pull Stripe data and reaccount their revenue recognition in a different way. How would my P&L look like then? And then you have this ability to do that within Coupler. Um, you can always pull the data from Coupler into spreadsheet and basically make your spreadsheet alive. Excel, Google spreadsheet, or things like we also have destinations. So things like BigQuery, you can pull your data and make your data refresh every 15 minutes. So when you come back to when you have your spreadsheets that help you run your business, instead of like exporting and re-importing the data, you do it through Coupler. So Coupler will re-import all of that. And then, such data as Stripe, you can pre-aggregate with Coupler, because like a spreadsheet won't handle 100,000 transactions, but Coupler can pull the 100,000 transactions and then, let's say, group them by the day or by the product or by product and day. And then that way you will have just much less transactions, and spreadsheet can then handle it. We have Zoho accounting, and then you can use it with ChargeBee, Chargeify. There's a lot of like extra stuff, Braintree, and there's just a lot of stuff here in the list from the perspective of financial and accounting data. But there's also just general like files and tables, Airtable, Dropbox, Google Drive. You can extract data from their databases, BigQuery. There's PPC, which is our big market, Amazon advertisement, Apple, Bing, Google, LinkedIn, Pinterest. So you can pull all your ad spend and analyze them. Let's say if in QuickBooks you just have one line, which is like ads or marketing, and if you want to break it down to your client, or you want to create some more kind of some smarter dashboards from the financial spend perspective, you can pull them from the actual systems and then categorize them in a different way and deliver them in this kind of a board presentation or just a dashboard. Or you have an ability to talk to AI about it back and forth. And sales, there's more things like Calendly is in sales, and a lot of other in a list of kind of sales surveys. You can pull data from surveys, emails, e-commerce, and other categories. Project management as well. You can do some work with Asana. You can see how many. You can create dashboards of how many like tickets do you still have left, or how's your workload doing, and you can pull data from Slack about messages. There's we have a lot of documentation and a lot of use cases, how people use it and how to get introduced to that. But again, what I'm really excited about is our AI agent, which is, instead of reading all of this documentation, which is a vast, big product. You just go to it and you say all your biggest problems to it and say, here's my problems. How can Coupler help me? And it'll help you. It'll figure out how to help you because it knows all the documentation and so on. It'll advise you what to connect and how to connect it, and then how to put it together and how to work with AI agent to analyze the data or to create analysis for the team. And even take your, we have a Slack version of AI agent. You can sit in Slack and talk to it. You can ask it questions. You can say, did this client pay? And it'll take the thread. It'll try to figure out who the client is, go to QuickBooks, find the client contact, find the account receivables, connect them, and say, well, no, he didn't pay. Like, what was last time he paid? It was like 2 months ago. What's his payment has been like? And it'll create you the payment. Like, make an angry email to this client explaining the situation and the problem so that I can send it. And it will make you an email. You copy it and put it into Gmail and send it. And it's incredibly beautiful, and all that happens so interactively and so simply, like in front of your eyes.
Great. So, I think as we discussed, the majority of our attendees to these podcasts are individuals who are using predominantly QuickBooks, some Xero, but I know that one of the things that you all are kind of, I guess, promoting is the ability to build dashboards out of QuickBooks data that QuickBooks itself can't build. And would you want to show us some of those?
Yeah, we can go through them. Let me reshare the screen. Just a second. When the demo is due, the glitches come with it. With my computer, it used 90 gigabytes of memory, which I don't have, and I did it in the worst possible timing. Okay, so here is. So if we log into Coupler, it shows you all the data sets that you have and everything that you can do. When you go to templates within Coupler and you say, okay, I want to work with QuickBooks, for example, and I want to see the destination. So you could use, for the dashboarding, we could use the Coupler, the own Coupler framework, which is called Coupler Dashboards. Or if you use Looker Studio and you want to edit the Looker Studio and change it in the way you want to, we'll give you the Looker Studio template and like the Looker Studio financial dashboard. And basically, when you preview it, it'll pull our Looker Studio template and show it based on kind of not real demo data. That when you say get this dashboard for me, the coupler will guide you how to connect the data, and I'll show it in a sec, how to connect the data and how to deliver it into QuickBooks, right? So this is a typical Looker Studio dashboard, which has profit and loss and earnings last month and earnings months to date, and balance sheet and all that. And you can, once you get this template for yourself, you can edit it and you can move it around the way you would do with a typical Looker Studio. Some people might like to use the Power BI, and then we have a Power BI template as well, which is pretty powerful. But let's look at the Coupler dashboard. So the way you do Coupler dashboard, you say, okay, let's try this report. It would open the reporting data, and we'll say, okay, let's connect your QuickBooks. So we select the QuickBooks. I already connected one of my demo data. So when you connect this and say continue, it will connect all the data that came from this QuickBooks. And this is account type is a different type of connection, which we also select our connection. We say connect this data, and then we say, okay, create dashboard. Now it's going to pull the data. It's running, so that's a live demo. Basically, what it does is it goes to your QuickBooks. So we have a QuickBooks right here with the demo data. It'll pull all the different types of data entities that it needs to generate this dashboard. And here it is. It generated a dashboard, and it shows like real-time data with your income, your gross profit, for example, and return on assets and total operating revenue, and it breaks it down into different charts that you can then basically analyze and look at. And this basically is like a regular way of consuming data by putting it into some pivot tables and into something. So we see that our gross profit was 7,000, and before that it was 1.6 thousand. And you can consume the data this way by just looking at expenses by type and account, and where you're spending the money, where the money comes from, or there's a cash flow that was generated from this that gives you a very good overview of what's happening from the cash flow perspective, and a balance sheet as well. We have $27,000 assets and 35,000 liabilities. So our equity is currently at minus $8,000, give or take, right? And so then there's, within the coupler templates, there's also revenue dashboard. So if we would like try the revenue dashboard, and basically it's the same process, you connect your accounts, it'll pull the data, and we would see what's happening in the revenue. The revenue dashboard would basically we'll let it work for a bit. But the one that I'm at most excited is so we go to data flows and QuickBooks. It's our AI agent, so which is called Ask AI. So what happens here is that this is an AI agent that has access to all the sources that you connected, right? So you have your journal entries and bills and purchases and year-to-date cash flow and last month's cash flow, account types and balance sheet and profit and loss 12 months. So that's a generic, and it would see the same data you see, right? And then we can ask it any question we want. We can ask it how healthy are we using the cash flow? Are there account receivables we need to chase? How good are we with this? And you send the message to it, and then what it'll do is act as a data analyst. It would be like, okay, I'll help you analyze your cash flow health data and account receivables, and it would like say, okay, let's see which access to which data I have. This is more technical, but it just explains what it does. Lists of data set, and then it sees the FadeBooks financial data and cash flow. It will get the schema. Getting the schema means like it takes the table, the CSV table, to understand how it looks like, and then it's like, okay, let me pull your cash flow data. Let me check your bank account balance, and this is what it comes out with. So this is unscripted, obviously, and it's just a live version of it, and it says, alarming, action needed. The account receivable has ballooned and is creating a serious cash collection issue. You have $7,000 sitting in AR, where your cash position is only $7,000, meaning uncollected revenue exceeds your available cash. And the current cash balance is $6,000, checking plus savings, and year-to-date net cash is $6,000, and December cash flow is zero. I mean, it's really hard to prepare those data unless you show the real company. Account receivable crisis, liquidity ratio, urgent actions needed, and basically it tells you what do you think you should do. But you can dive into any part of this data with this AI agent, like who are the clients? Are there trends per client? And you feel incredibly productive with it. It kind of becomes your copilot. You're able to do so much more, but also there's like, it pulls you out of your procrastination and into just doing things. As you know, it would take like 1 million clicks within QuickBooks to actually do this analysis ourselves, and this can do a really good job of working with you and talking with you, right? And then I never can get enough of those. I really use it within our own company, and this is really, really awesome. I'll run it another question, and while it answers, I'll get you guys a chance to also ask any questions.
It's a way to get the information that is not centered around the numerics. It's more analytical. It's looking at the issues and giving you what those are. Now, it may throw out the numbers along with it, but a person that's just looking at a P&L or a balance sheet, unless they've spent a lot of time, they don't really know. They know what the numbers say, but they don't know what the numbers mean. They don't know how things look and how that really impacts their business. This, on the other hand, is uh, performing that analysis for you. Just
Yep. Yep. So for example, look, it found categorization problems. It's an insurance agency bill categorized as miscellaneous, and Nick's hardware as miscellaneous, and could be maintenance or supply and equipment, or so it's this could be a subcontractor job cost. So like someone did a slappy accounts payable work or categorizing everything as miscellaneous, which doesn't really, looking at this dashboard, that's our revenue dashboard. And that's our expenses dashboard. Like looking at this dashboard, you could just look at it and there's not much you can do like from this expense type perspective. But with when you work with an agent, you can learn in so much more, and you can just have a little bit more feedback from what is it that you need to focus on, and kind of like it pushes you into doing a more productive work faster, because it just sits there with you and does the work with you, and it's really a fun interaction to do that.
all right.
Yep. So a lot of different use cases, a lot of different possibilities. We're eager to see what people will really use it for and against. It can be a tool that helps you just bring your data into a spreadsheet, right? So like with one of those, as we were looking at the AI data flow, like what you could actually do is just change the destination of the data to be a spreadsheet, and that becomes then you just push your data into a spreadsheet and you can work with it. But at the same time, you can work with the AI agent to make it worthwhile. Yeah, and that's about it. Not to say too many more things. It's I'll let it on this note.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little about your what I'll call pricing options, because that's important to our listeners. Um, and you wanna bring up that page?
Yeah, let me do that.
Okay. So, when I first looked at this, I thought, well, that sounds reasonable, but then I was a little confused about what an account was versus a data source versus a data integration. And you pointed out to me that actually, when you look at the choosing the plan, that there are little indicators that show what all of those things mean. But essentially, your plans are based on the number of uh, primary data source connections, the 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 tools you connect to. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, if you're not looking at the starter account, which is basically something that you would start from, right? If it has a 5,000 rows per day, which lines of data and one user and three accounts uh as a limit, right? An account refers to like this like single advertisement analytical or CRM account. So basically one QuickBooks account would be this one account. Then from perspective of like active or pro, you have ability to connect if you work with 50 clients, and basically you have each one of them has one QuickBooks, then you can connect those 50 QuickBooks connectors into it, and then the rest is unlimited. So you could service with this pro plan of $200 per month. You can service 50 different QuickBooks accounts, right? Or if you need more than that, like when you need to connect their CRM data and their other data, then you kind of connect more of this. Or you just do an account if you're depending how client interacts with it. Does your client want to just see the dashboard? And that would be his interaction. Then you would just share a dashboard with a client. or does your client want to have more data flows around it, then you can use our referral program and basically get them set up on an active or a starter account, and let their one company have their own data where they can add their users, and their users can talk to AI agent, and it can connect to Slack, and they can talk to AI agent, and have their little data silo, while you as a professional are kind of like just curating those connections and using your approaches. What do you connect with which your data source? You could use your own dashboards, kind of in Looker Studio that you use between clients, or in Coupler that you use between clients, that is your practice. This is the way you want to show accounts receivables or account payables or cash flow to your clients. That then you can build it on top of it, and then you can use the referral program to set up clients on Coupler accounts, and then kind of curate it, and we'll help you do that as well. But the main difference is basically 15 accounts or 50 account, and data destination is basically where you send the data to. So a Looker Studio, for example, and in the Pro plan, it's unlimited. All that is unlimited, right? And then you can set up refreshes every 15 minutes. In custom, it's for every 15 minutes, and in the Pro plan, it's hourly. So every hour you can have the fresh data going, being pulled from QuickBooks, pulled from your CRM, and pushed into your dashboard.
All right. Let's also talk a little about the partner program that you all offer, because a lot of our pro advisors who are going to be watching this podcast will be interested in how they can partner with you.
Yes. So let me see. We have a partner. There's an affiliate program and the solution partners. Become a partner of Coupler. So when you say become a partner, that's basically take you to a sign up flow where you add your company, and then you'll have a 25% recurrent revenue for the lifetime of your referrals. So everything all the accounts that we manage that were referred by you, you'll get the 25% recurrent revenue out of it, and it builds up pretty quickly, depending on how many companies you help, right? And the affiliate partnership is more very similar program, but it's more about when you run kind of an influencer program, you have a lot of viewers, and then you want to monetize your channel, then you would become that. Essentially, it's the same sign-up flow and the same kind of conceptual approach to both of them, right? And then the earnings is also the same. And this is the easiest way. I'm happy to be of service, and I think we'll post my email at the bottom with the podcast together, right? It would be
Yes.
yeah, for simplicity, it's a y@coupler.com. So just one letter. y at coupler.com. That's coupler.io, sorry. And I'm also happy to see what we really love while we build those programs and while we build Coupler. Instead of telling the market or telling the accountants or telling the professionals do this, we want to say, hey, what would you do? What did this episode or this dialogue? What kind of possibilities did open in your hat? What it got you excited about? What it got you excited about, Murph? And then we can have this dialogue together and figure out which other templates do we need to build, or how do you think it makes sense to use it with clients, or we're very much open to dialogue, and we love of making our product practical and usable by the community, and bending it. The product should bring happiness and productivity and reduce frustration and anxiety, and we're here to build this product and expand it and make it really, really awesome. And we had these stories. I had stories as a CEO of frustration of figuring out the finance and accounting and processes around it, and we used our own product in order to build those approaches and make them really effective. We're happy to do that, to enable the community to do that as well. And we're users of our own product, and the product is bootstrapped. We didn't have any venture funding in it, so it's built with love, by love, basically, and then to the community.
Well, we may have a new use case for you. You all connect to a lot of Zoho products, not only Zoho Accounting, but Zoho CRM and their inventory program. I didn't see a product that we use, Zoho Survey, but I think probably the API is pretty well the same. Um, and you also connect to HubSpot. And while Zoho is supposed to have a connection between their survey and HubSpot, it doesn't work at all. So I may be reaching out to you to have you build me a connector between Zoho and HubSpot that Gary and Bob can ask questions of when they want to know the data that is coming into our survey tool. Also, I want to thank you, and I want to let our audience know that we will be doing a App Aware feature, and we'll also be doing a Advisor Alliance covering the partner program, and we'll be essentially trying to tie those to the time frame when this podcast is going to actually air. So you should see it all very close together. And I want to thank you. And indeed, your email and the website links will all be posted here at the end of the podcast.
Yep, and then this is the way how to if you can find the data source that you're searching for, we constantly monitor those and normalize them. And anything that goes up the charts, we work on those connectors and we add them. So I can add the Zoho survey from your input right away, and then happy to support as many connectors as possible, enabling it to be really, really dynamic data tool for everyone.
All right. Well, I want to thank you again for being with us today. And Gary, are you still around somewhere?
I am, and thank you both. Certainly appreciate the technical side of that, and I believe you do have your ways to reach out and connect, and we'll certainly be. I think we've got something teed up on your partner program, and maybe a little more in depth on your partner program that'll be on the site shortly. I don't know an exact time frame, but if it's not already up, I think it is in the pipeline. So Yaroslav, Murph, thank you both so much for being here. Certainly appreciate it, and look forward to speaking with you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty.
Are you an accounting or tax professional who wants to stay ahead without spending a dime? Join thousands who trust insightful accountant and tax practice news to keep them informed and empowered. Get expert updates on QuickBooks, Xero, tax planning strategies, and workflow tips delivered straight to your inbox. Whether you're a solo bookkeeper, firm leader, or tax advisor, these newsletters are your shortcut to what's next in the profession. They're free, practical, and built for people like you. Visit insightfulaccountant.com and hit subscribe to start your smarter workflow today for free.